Maritozzi, these sweet Italian cream buns, are a traditional Roman breakfast treat. They're so delicious, and if you're desperate to try one, but just can't make it to Italy, I'm going to show you how to make them.
Into a bowl, add 120 milliliters, half a cup of whole milk. You'll want it to be warm but not scalded, just above body temperature. Then add in 65 grams, half a cup of bread flour. To this, add in 4.5 grams, 1.5 teaspoons of active dry yeast. If you only have instant yeast on hand, you can use that in a pinch.
This is a variation of a traditional Italian biga. Normally, you'd add a lot less yeast and you'd let this brew for about 6 to 12 hours. If you want to do that method, just add in half a teaspoon of the yeast.
Stir it together until it's completely combined. Cover it for 1 hour until it's beautiful and bubbly.
These buns are made with an enriched dough, but unlike a traditional brioche, we're using olive oil instead of butter. How very Italian of us.
Into a mixing bowl, add 2 large room temperature eggs. To this, add 60 milliliters, 1/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil. You could use really soft butter or sunflower oil, but olive oil is the most traditional. Now add 67 grams, 1/3 a cup of sugar, 2 teaspoons, 8 grams of vanilla, 1 tablespoon, 22 grams of honey, and 4 grams, about 3/4 teaspoons of salt. Now add in the zest of a lemon and an orange.
I really want the flavors to pop in this recipe, so I'm using orange zest, lemon zest, and vanilla to flavor my buns. But you could choose any of the 3 or none at all.
To the wet ingredients, add in that bubbly yeast mixture and whisk it all together. Don't worry about losing the volume from the yeast mix here. It has 2 more proofs to go, so we'll build up that light airiness. Add in 2 cups, 260 grams of bread flour. You'll want to reserve an additional half cup, 65 grams of bread flour. We'll add that in a bit. Now start mixing this together. I'm using my dough hook, but since the dough is still so wet at this stage, you could technically use your flat paddle. Additionally, if you wanted to make this by hand, pour your flour onto your work surface and make a well in the center. Then pour your wet ingredients in and slowly start to incorporate the wet and the dry, just like making pasta. Be sure to scrape down the sides of the bowl so all of the flour gets incorporated. Once the flour is all mixed in, set your speed to medium and let it knead for about 5 minutes. Your dough will still be very soft and liquidy. Let's add in the rest of that flour. Once you've added in the reserved flour, let it knead again for another 5 minutes. My dough was still looking really wet, and this can happen depending on the protein levels in your flour, so I just added in a couple more tablespoons to bring it all together. Once the dough has started to form a mass, it's ready to turn out onto your work surface. It will still be very sticky. We don't want to add any more flour because it could make our Maritozzo tough and dry. So we're going to prepare our work surface by spreading some olive oil on it. You only need a really thin layer just to stop your dough from sticking. Pour your dough onto your oiled work surface, and then with a little bit of oil on your hands, spread the dough into a rectangle. Now to build that gluten structure, we're going to do a few folds. Fold your dough into thirds, and then from the short end of your log, roll it up so that your dough is nice and tight. Once your dough is starting to form a nice tight ball, continue gently folding it over on itself, and then pull it against the counter to create some tension on the top. My favorite method of building tension is using a cutting method under the ball of dough. Just slice your hands under the dough and it will slowly start to come together and tighten. Generously oil a large bowl and transfer your dough.
Now that the dough is soft and supple, you want it to rise for at least 2 hours or until it's tripled in size. If your kitchen is particularly cool, pop it in the oven with the light on to help provide the rise.
And now for my favorite part. The dough is so light and pillowy. There's still a fair bit of oil on your dough, so you shouldn't have to put any more on your work surface, but if it is a little bit sticky, you can add a tiny bit more. You'll want to take your dough and roll it out into a log. We're going to cut it into 8 equal pieces. If you want to be really specific, you could even weigh them. Now's the time to lightly flour your work surface. Set one piece of your dough down on the floured surface, and then with the sticky sides, pinch them together into the center to form a little ball. Now flip the ball over so that the pinched seams are on the bottom and roll it vigorously under your hand. You'll start to feel the ball tightening and firming up as you roll. The ball should slightly stick to the counter, so if you've got too much flour, wipe a little bit away. Your bun is ready to transfer to a lined baking tray.
These steps are all best done the night before because it's a breakfast food. Once you've rolled out your buns, put them on your tray and covered them up. Put them in the fridge for about 12 hours. Pull them out in the morning, let them come to temperature for about 30 minutes, and they're ready to bake. While the buns are coming up to temperature, preheat your oven to 175 degrees Celsius or 350 degrees Fahrenheit.
We're going to whisk up an egg to glaze them. Give your buns a good coating of the egg wash, making sure to get all the way around the edges. This gives that beautiful glossy brown shine on the top of each bun.
These are going to bake for 12 to 15 minutes until they're beautifully golden on the top.
To a large bowl, add 480 milliliters, 2 cups of heavy or double cream. Start whisking. Once it's starting to thicken up, add in 30 grams, a quarter cup of powdered sugar. You could add additional flavors to this if you want. A little bit of vanilla would be really nice. You could fold in some melted Nutella at the end. You've got plenty of different options, but I'm keeping this the most traditional with just cream. Continue whisking until you have firm peaks, like this.
While Maritozzi are a traditional Roman dish, you'll find variations all over Italy. In Naples, you'll find they're an oblong shape, still filled with cream. But in southern Italy, especially Sicily, you'll find these buns stuffed with delicious gelato. That's my favorite. And hey, if you found this fact interesting, why not hit the like button?
To get that classic Maritozzo look and fill it with the most cream possible, you want to be sure to cut it on a specific angle. You'll want to start your slice from one of the top rounded corners, working your way down towards the opposite bottom corner, being sure not to cut through your bun. They should look like little clamshells when you open them up. The easiest way to do this is using a serrated knife, like this. The easiest way to fill these is with a piping bag, but if you haven't got one, you can just as easily spoon the cream in with a large spoon. Starting at the back of your Maritozzo, pipe in a healthy amount of cream. Keep filling as you bring the piping bag forward until it's overflowing over the edge of the bun. With a flat knife or an angled spatula, scrape the cream along the cut side of your bun. It's almost like shaving with a straight razor. You want your cream to be level with the opening of the bun. Use your knife to clean up any little stray bits of cream. If there are any gaps of cream, you can just grab some with your knife and fill it in. Finally, dust your buns with powdered sugar. And just look at that cream and that beautiful, airy, rich dough. These are so good, I've just saved you a trip to Italy. Sono bellissimi!
And if you want a perfect accompaniment for this treat, why not try Mr. Editor's take on Starbucks Oleato? Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button. I put out new videos every single week. Can't wait to see you next time.